Most people think that the secret to a healthy spine is more movement, but here's the truth. It's not about how much you can move your spine, it's about how well you can control it. I'll show you why one of the most hyped back machines in gyms, the reverse hyper, can actually be harmful to your spine, and a simple change in how you use it can turn it into a tool for real core control. I was asked about this machine in a recent Q&A by one of my core balance training students, and while my answer is about the reverse hyper, it actually applies to many other machines and exercises that people commonly do in the gym to help their back, but may actually be hurting it. So this is a case study about a much broader topic in back pain about stability versus mobility. So let's get right into it. Hops up on the machine, feet are no longer on the ground. And he's going to be kind of swinging the weight in a dynamic or ballistic even way. And you can see how much movement is happening in his lumbar spine. So that's a lot of movement happening right there, that lumbar spine. Extension, flexion, under weight, under load. One of the selling points of this machine is that it allows you to train your lower back without the load of lifting weights, like in a deadlift. Ironically, I would much prefer a deadlift for training my lower back than this machine, because when you hop up on this machine, your core is largely being stabilized by this platform. This firm foundation, external source of stability is providing your core with stability. And so this guy's abdominals can more or less be just, they could be off, they could be on. We don't really know. He doesn't need them to do this lift. I don't really agree with the claim that the spine is not under load, because the load is right here. And so they just took the load, which is the weight, instead of putting it in the arms on one side of the movement, they're putting it in the legs. So they just switched it from the arms to the legs, but there's still load. And that load is dynamic, it's ballistic. So this is putting force on the lumbar spine. And if the abdominals are not engaged, because they really don't need to be, I mean, you got this edge of the stable pushing into his abdomen. If that was done to me, that would kind of inhibit my ability to engage and create that get fat concept and get a nice strong engagement. So this is inhibiting a little bit of engagement, and it's also providing a foundation so that they may not be turned on at all. So when you look at this movement that's happening in his lumbar spine, that movement right there is the opposite of stability. That's mobility. And my personal approach with core balance training and healing my own spine and helping other people heal theirs is stability. How do we learn how to stabilize our spine so that when we move our limbs, we move our legs, we run, we jump, we do everything, the spine is stable and supported on all these levers, like our arms and legs and everything that we throwing and kicking and just doing in sports is not yanking on our lumbar spine, having that effect of friction and movement. Personally, I take a completely opposite approach of mobilizing the lumbar spine, creating more movement in the lumbar spine. I think it's an area of the body that's undersupported, and it doesn't have the bony structural support that the thoracic spine has with the rib cage, or even the sacrum has with the pelvis. And so this is the most vulnerable part of the spine to hypermobility. And even I'll go as far to say instability. So what we want to train is we want to train the muscles around this region to stabilize it. And we want to train ourselves to learn how to move and do activities and play sports and do things with a stable core. And that requires muscle activity, muscle engagement. And this machine is not helping us with that. If anything, it's doing the opposite of that. And there is potential to overdo it with this. And a kettlebell, if done in a certain way, it's going to be a very similar idea of like this dynamic ballistic movement, where we're training our body to have impulsive power movements and this heavy weight to like try and control. And if we don't have the control of that movement, it is going to transfer its forces into our joints in our spine and is very vulnerable to injury with ballistic movements like a kettlebell or like the reverse hyper machine. If I were to use this machine, and I would use this machine, I would just do it differently than this guy's doing it. I would make sure my core is engaged, even though I'm leaning over on the edge of a table. And I would do this in slow motion. I would try to resist the movement in my lumbar spine. This is an opportunity for training your body to resist forces trying to collapse your lumbar spine. And that is a fantastic opportunity for training. So I'm wrapping this up on a positive note that if I had access to this machine, yes, I would use it, but it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And the how that I would use this machine would be a completely different approach than the way this guy's doing the machine. I would be going in absolute slow motion, snail's pace, practicing control and practicing stability against the forces that are trying to pull my spine out of alignment. And that's how you can gain a ton of benefit from something like this, in my, I'll call it biased opinion, because core stability training worked for me. It's worked for a lot of the people that have gone through the program. And so it's created this bias for me. Okay, the spine likes stability. The spine likes support. Hopefully that teaching lesson helps you guys to apply this idea beyond just the reverse hyper machine, but into other aspects of life where we're going to be instructed by certain people in yoga classes, Pilates, whatever, who knows, here and there to, move your lumbar spine, bend your lumbar spine. That movement is good for it. Well, actually, how good are you at stabilizing your lumbar spine? That seems harder than moving it to me. Your lumbar spine might already be moving too much. That is a high likelihood. I hope this explains why core stability is much more protective of the lumbar spine than excessive mobility. And you don't need this machine to apply the lesson. Every back exercise should be judged by, does it protect and stabilize the lumbar spine, or does it overload it with uncontrolled motion? I'll be back next week with another topic for getting out of the back pain cycle for good. And until then, get down on the floor and connect to your core.